to Earth Whispers, Abby. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Sue Sherman.
And I'm Felicia Babb. And today we want to focus on one of the elemental joys of life, love.
Yes, and we are in the midst of the season of romantic love right now. But I do know that also can be a tough time for people who don't have a romantic partner. So, what I think we need to remember though is that love starts right here within ourselves. What do you think about that,
You
Felicia?
are, yeah, you are so right, Sue. So today we want to focus on self love or self regard. And one way to remind ourselves of our own delight is to savor taste and that experience.
Mhm.
So, Sue, you want to get us started?
Yes. So, what we'd like you to do is choose a food that gives you delight, just a small bit of something. And first of all, imagine it growing in the earth, where it might be growing, and just think about earth nurturing it and just bringing it to fruition. So, what I'm choosing today is this little raisin, which I don't know if you can see, but it sure smells good.
And I'm choosing an orange.
Okay, so let's take your single piece of your orange or your raisin or whatever it is that you have chosen and just smell it. Savor, oh, just savor that smell. Mm.
So, Sue, what do those smells bring up for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, it takes me right back to my granny's kitchen, is what it does. And her homemade oatmeal raisin cookies.
Ah, nothing says love like grandma's cookies. This orange for me reminds me of when I'm cleaning the house. I usually put lemon in I like to make up my own cleaners, and I'll put some lemon in it. And I always feel so virtuous after I've cleaned the whole house and it smells like very citrusy. So for me, this orange sort of reminds me of virtue.
Hmm.
So now let's explore the texture of our food, whatever food you've chosen. One thing I was noticing as I was peeling this orange is that the orange peel on the outside is really smooth, and on the inside, it's really rough when you run your finger over it. And then the orange is just the opposite. On the outside of the orange, it's rough where it comes off that rind, but on the inside, it's smooth. So, what did you notice about your raisin and its texture?
Yeah, my little raisin here. Well, of course it feels like a raisin does, with all the little bumps and it just kind of reminds me of when I used to swim in the ocean all day long, and I'd get out and my fingers and toes would look like raisins.
What a happy memory.
So now we invite you to put that bite of food into your mouth, but don't chew it yet, and just notice, notice that initial taste. Mm, hmm. So what does that bring up?
Well, for me, it reminds me that I'm very impatient. I've got this anticipation. I want to bite through the skin of this orange.
Hmm.
And it reminds me that there's goodness in anticipation. I tend to rush through that anticipatory moment. How about for you? What did the that just holding it in your mouth, what'd that bring up for you?
Yeah, very, very, very similar thing. It is so sweet in my mouth right now, and I have all these juices coming through there. So I want to chew it so bad. But yeah, so it just reminds me too of that I have to wait. And sometimes it's just good to just enjoy the moment and anticipate what's coming next.
Well, let's go ahead. Let's take a
That
bite.
bite, that bite,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Mm.
Oh my goodness. It was so good.
Mm,
So, so good.
okay. So as you're biting on your piece of food, you might notice there are really basically five taste sensations that we have. They're salty, sweet, bitter, sour, and something called umami, which is you might think of that as like savory, but you don't really have to limit yourself to these. You know, maybe something that's salty is like tasting the sea air, or something sweet might be like remind you of the scent of lilacs on uh, in the spring. So, what does that one side taste like to you, Sue?
Well, first of all, I want to say I love your imagery there with the sea and the lilacs and all of that.
Thank you.
Um, it biting on that side, it reminded me of raisin bread, eating raisin bread. I just,
Okay.
I guess I'm into the real food part today. But yeah, just remind me of raisin bread.
So, you know, this on this side, I started on the left side of my mouth. It's not as sweet as I anticipated, and it's actually a little disappointing. But you know, that's kind of the way love is sometimes, right? Sometimes we get disappointed by um, love. Even our own self love can be less than we feel like we need at a particular moment. And that too belongs. So, you know, we just have to go. It's that full exploration.
Hmm. It certainly is. Yeah, yeah. So, so as we chew on the other side, then notice if that's any different for you, and maybe what association that might bring up.
You know, it is different. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if I have more taste buds on the right side of my, but it's really different on the right side, much sweeter.
Mm.
Maybe I've adjusted my expectations and it's just sweeter. I don't, but it's kind of crazy how much sweeter it is.
Oh, wow, that's interesting because I think I had the same experience on both sides. It very sweet, very juicy, and just really got that the juices in my mouth just flowing and going. So yeah.
Well, we would like you to take as long as you'd like with this exercise. And at the end, record how setting aside this time to give yourself pleasure feels. And to start to do some brainstorming. What other things could you do that would give yourself pleasure, or are small moments of loving care that you could give yourself?
Yes, and we would love to hear those ideas. So on self-love. So if you would just hop on over to Earth Whispers Abby Facebook page and just leave us a message. We'd love to see what you do for self-care.
So we're gonna leave you with this idea from Mary Oliver from her poem. The hummingbird comes like a dark green angel to soak his dark tongue in happiness. May you soak your tongue in happiness. Until next time, friends.